Hello traders, this is Gary Odom with testedwisdom.com. This morning I'd like to make a little video to explain how to import Tested Wisdom into your ThinkOrSwim platform. I do realize that TOS has some pretty good tutorials to do that, but there are a few other things I wanted to talk about while I did that. So this is kind of a two for one. Uh, this is a new recording program. I certainly hope it works out. I hate doing things for nothing. In any case, here we go. We're going to install on this window on the left. The program's over here, so keep your attention over there. I'm going to use the one on the right in just a moment. There are three ways to, or probably more, but there are three ways to get to the import function. You can click on this studies button, the little beaker there, and do edit studies, and it takes you there to the import function. Or you can just click on this beaker over here and it takes you to the import function. Or you can right click, go down to studies, then to edit studies, and it again takes you to the import function. And since we're here, we'll use this one. You navigate to wherever you downloaded your studies to. It came in a zip package, so you'd have to unzip it and you would have the studies inside of there. This is the unzip format. So let us do this one. We'll just click on it and open it, and it's asked me if I want to overwrite the one that I have here. Well, that's pointless because I already have one, so we'll just say no. Now, it would have installed it had I not had one there. But see the blank box? You click on this little down arrow, then scroll this slider bar all the way to the bottom and click on user defined, and you will find the study in there, and here it is right here. Alright, so let's assume that we did not have it installed over here, and we're going to select it, add it, and apply. Now something happened when I did that. Notice over here, your copy has expired. Please, you will get that as well, because the key code that I sent you must be placed in the study. Now I don't have a key code handy, so let me just copy this one. I can do that. There we go. And you can't use right click on this, so you have to use the control stuff. We use control C. To paste it, you'll use control V as in Victor, and we go here and I will highlight it and do that control V. Now excuse me, you have many more numbers than this, and they are here as well. You just don't see them. Be sure that you include all the numbers that I sent you. So we'll say OK, and then watch. I'm going to apply it and watch it'll go away. See, it went away. Now it still left two things up here on the screen. That's because we do in fact have two studies installed, and they are identical. So let's get rid of one. Just click on the little X box. Now let's take a look at the one we have in here. There's our key code that we talked about, and of course that's where you go to install it. These are different methods that you can use to trade. Methodologies, we could call it. That one only considers momentum. One considers momentum and trend, so you kind of turn into a little trend trader there, and that's okay, because trading here, all things being equal, will have about a 15% higher incidence of success than trading with only momentum. But all things are not equal because we have the SRT going for us. I'll get into that in another video. This includes volume with your momentum. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And this includes all three of them. Now, the more you include that required qualification, of course, the fewer signals you're going to get. But then again, the higher probability you will have as well. I am trading only momentum. These settings of the power min, power max, I would recommend that you just leave them where they are. They have been tested for thousands of trading hours, and we have come to feel that these are very effective settings. Now, if you want to play with them, I first suggest you do it on a paper trade, not your live account. You can't break it. And if you forget what they're supposed to be, you click on the little question mark and it tells you what the default is. So you're covered. Go for it. Play with it. Okay, the next thing we want to take a look at is the moving average. And here I use a 44 simple. Frankly, it doesn't make me any difference because I'm not concerned with where the trend is. But it does plot it differently on the chart by where you set that. I think the default is a 50 simple. Sometimes I use a 50 EMA, which you can change by here as Wilder's Hull, whatever floats your boat. Now let's get on to some of these other things. This sensitivity setting, all it does is it prints a label up on the screen. It tells you what sensitivity you have selected. Right here, display sensitivity label. And these are the sensitivities that you have to choose from. The default is medium. I suggest you leave it there. It's a little tiny bit more conservative than the high, but it's a good place to start. And sometimes you won't even notice a difference. It depends on the volatility of the security that you're trading at that time. Now there are some show and display settings up here. Show trend, show power, and display entry labels. For some reason they aren't all titled show. You'll have to ask me the reason, but I don't know the answer because I'm the one that actually coded these. In any case, they mean the same thing. The downtrend is the trend label right here. It'd be uptrend if it were going up. The 1, 2, 3 settings here of the power setting, the fading or building setting, and confirmed unconfirmed setting are the power settings. That goes with this power label. And there, yes, yes, yes. And the last, the entry is right here, display entry. Also yes. If it has an entry, it'll tell you. Otherwise, it says no entry. This to hide the arrows. Yes, I hide the arrows, and that is also default. I find that the incidence of trading with the labels and the outcome is much higher percentage outcome by trading with the labels than it is with the arrows, because it forces you to look at what is going on with price. Some people prefer the arrows, and that is okay too. Just understand what you're giving up. Then we get into the alert section. Now, I don't use alerts primarily because I'm not gone. I trade select times of the day. My trades are short. It probably never lasts longer than an hour, and that would be a really long time. But here's where you turn them on, right here. The long short factor, display stop label, and spread are all involved in establishing a stop. Now, I am going to show you what they look like. I don't use them because I use these yellow labels right here as my exit signals. But regardless, I want to show you what they look like. We'll say OK, and we'll say apply. And you notice when I said apply, that other study went away. Anytime you do anything, whether it's delete something here or make changes within here, nothing happens until you hit the apply button. Now you say a bull stop, and this is the value that your stop would be at, and the bear stop. In other words, if you're in a bull trade, this is your stop. You're in a bear trade, that's your stop. It tells you what the spread is 1.5, and it's less than the average spread. So it's telling you that it is trading in a narrower than usual range for the X number of bars, probably about 30 bars, if I recall correctly. Like I said, I don't use it. So we'll just turn it off. If you didn't understand what I said, just replay this. The about is simply proprietary information along with the days that you have left in your subscription. If you deselect Show Steady, it turns off like the moving average and the arrows if you're plotting them, but not the labels. If you want to turn the labels off, you have to delete the study out of the charts. Trend line, bull entry, bear entry, you can turn each one of those off if you wish by deselecting the show plot. See how it is off? That's because it was overridden before in my settings up here. See, hide the arrows. Now nothing's going to change until I hit apply, but there's two ways to go. I'm just showing you that because there's two ways to go about that. You can use the setting here, or you can settings down here. Either way. Mostly I wanted to show you is how to change colors. Just click on that color and it gives you a little short color palette here. This is for the arrows. If you need more, you can go to this big swatch panel or these other various color renditions. Pretty much you can get everything you want from, well, all the colors. Alright, alerts. First you have to select them up top to turn the alerts on. Remember? Right here, activate alerts. Okay, without that nothing happens on the alerts. But this is where you go to change the sounds, how it's going to ding or ring or buzz or whatever it does. I suggest that you select this one repeatedly for each tick, because otherwise it only dings when the candle first forms or reforms, but it will not ding nearly enough to get your attention. So I would say repeatedly for each tick. And if it starts driving you crazy, then just go down to your sound and just mute it. Or you can go back in here and turn your alerts off, but the quickest way is just to mute your sound. The last setting on this page is globals. Now what globals are for labels primarily, and the moving average. Up here and the moving average. That's pretty much all it's for. But it's pretty important because these colors may not render well, like on a white background. You may not be able to read these. For instance, your neutral color is yellow, and on a white background, that might be very difficult to see. So what you could do is you could go up here and pick like a darker color, like say perhaps an orange color like that, that would render better, as you can see, on a white background. Well, actually it doesn't. Here we go. This is what. Well, it doesn't really show you a white label. I mean a white text coming through. It shows you black text coming through because that's my background. But if you had a white background, you could see how it would look and whether or not it'll render well for you. If that's not good enough, then maybe you'd be picking maybe this kind of color. So you get to see how well that label is going to render by looking at right here. Okay, enough of that. We're done with colors. Now let us look at one other thing. Well, let's look at volume down here on the bottom. Down here on the bottom, you have a very unique looking volume configuration. And I want to show you how it got there. So let's go up to Studies and edit them. And I'm going to put this back in the lower section. In all likelihood, depending how your setup is, in all likelihood, when you install volume, it was installed this way, where you had your old volume up here and your new volume down below. Now, what a lot of people have done, I said, oh, it's okay. I'll just go turn off my old volume and now I only have one. That's fine. You can do that. The volume's going to read the same. There's not one iota of difference. However, this is just a little interesting little trick that you might be interested in. You might want to leave your old volume on and take this and push it right into the volume area and apply. Now you see we're back to where we were. Below this thin little line you have one color, and above it you may have a different color, or it may be the same color. And here's what we have. Starting on the left with this green bar, there's a green bar before it and a red bar before it. This red bar says that volume decreased from the previous bar. Then it says, then it increased, then it increased, then it decreased, then it decreased, then it increased, then it decreased, and it decreased, and it increased, increased, decreased, decreased. Down below it tells you on what kind of bar it increased on. It increased on a red bar, or a downward moving of the price. If you were going short, it would be really neat to enter on a green bar, because you've got some fuel, you've got some help propel that momentum. If you were going long, you'd still want to enter on a green bar. When I say green bar, I'm talking about our volume green bar, as well as their volume, their price bar. So that's just a little aid to help you trade. In addition to that, it shows how it compares to the moving average of volume, and it shows you whether or not the volumes are rising, or whether what the average volume is and what the current volume is. So it gives you a lot of information, and if you're really interested in using all this information, then what you could do, here's another way to get into Edit Studies. Whoa, there we go. It's really the same thing as clicking this, volume momentum. In other words, we incorporated everything we talked about in this volume study back into the Power Trader. And there, I got to do that. Okay, that pretty much wraps this session up. I'm going to do other videos talking to you about actually trading the Power Trader, about using the SRT, both as standalone functions, and then eventually we'll put them both together and show you how to trade both of them in concert. So until next time, I am signing off.